I'm Ainery the ice, I am. Ainery the ice, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She'd been married.
Welcome to the Lazy Programmer, episode 4. This is John Hatton, the Lazy Programmer. I get lots of requests for reviews for all sorts of things, not necessarily just things that are related to computer game development. Sometimes people just want to send me gadgets. This gadget is from Gyration. Let's let it focus there. Maybe if I go back there. Gyration, gyration.com. And it is the Air Mouse and the Air Mouse Go Plus. I'm going to be talking about both of these. And what these are, this is, it looks like a traditional laptop mouse. It acts like a human, the standard, human interface device specifications. So if you've got a little dongle that snaps out of the back, you snap that little USB dongle into your computer, PC or Mac, and it'll link up to it without any drivers. It does come with a disk of software on it, and the software basically lets you program the extra 3 buttons. There you have 3 little Chrome buttons, as well as adding some macros for gestures. Gyration is apparently one of the companies that, or the company that licensed the motion sensing and capture technology to Nintendo for the Wiimotes. And a lot of that technology is actually inside this mouse. If you look on the bottom of the mouse, there's the traditional little LED mouse sensor. So this operates as a standard mouse. If you look right there, there's a button, and if you look at the bottom of it, there's a bit of a dent. It curves up a little bit. You'll see that more on the other one. And the idea is you can actually use this mouse like a Wiimote. What you do is you hold the mouse thusly, so my index finger now is resting on that little button, and if I then click the button and move around with it, it'll move around the pointer on the screen just like if I was using a regular mouse. And if you double click the button like that, then it locks it into that mode, and you can continue to use it as a Wiimote, and you can operate the buttons, and that's why those little Chrome buttons are here. If you had some kind of presentation software and you wanted to be able to program the buttons to do extra things, you can then use this as a presentation remote, and in addition to using it as a standard mouse. And it actually works very well. It does not work on Bluetooth, as you saw the dongle a second ago. Whoops, stuck it back in. The dongle is actually 2.4 gigahertz, which is, I haven't seen it stepping on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi communications, I don't, whatever sub-channel or whatever it's using doesn't seem to interfere with Wi-Fi, which is good. And there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of 2.4 gigahertz is it's a lot better performance than the Bluetooth. I've got the Bluetooth hooked up to the MacBook over there, and you can kind of notice the difference when you're moving the mouse around. It's a little pokey. This is as good as any mouse I've ever used as far as just the moving around the table. It works as a very good mouse. And I'll get back to this one in a minute. And this is the Air Mouse Go Plus. It doesn't have the little snap-on dongle. It actually comes with its own dongle. It's pretty big. It's about twice the size of the one you saw down there. But that's not really a problem because you're hooking it up to, it's going to be one of those ones you're going to plug it in and just leave it there forever. Again, it's got the 3 buttons on the top that you can program. It's got the same software. You can see the dimple on this one. It's much more aggressively curved, and it's got the same button down there. And the idea is you can operate this as a standard mouse. It sticks up quite a bit in the back, but again, this isn't really intended to replace a desktop mouse. This isn't a mouse you're going to use all day. This is a mouse you're going to use in your living room, just to play games. And it does, if you're used to holding a Wiimote, it's exactly the same. It's got the little trigger on the bottom. You just rest your finger on that, and you can, you double click on that, and then you can operate the buttons up here with your thumb, or you can operate the buttons back there, and you hold it. It feels much like a Wiimote. It's kind of the little squarish shape that you put in your hand. The street price of, or the MSRP of this one is $100. The street price is about $80. I checked Amazon this morning, and the MSRP of this one is $80, and the street price is $50. These are kind of expensive. The idea is, though, that this is good for, especially if you go out and you do presentations on the road. The idea being that, well, I noticed this a couple of weeks ago at the Game Developers Conference. There was a big presentation by Microsoft. They were showing off Visual Studio 2010. And the guy had this monster screen behind him, you know, this great big, you know, 15-foot wide, 10-foot high screen behind him showing Visual Studio. Meanwhile, he's facing the audience like I am with a laptop in front of him, and he's staring down at the screen, and he's operating things with the mouse, and things are happening behind him, and he can't really he's not seeing the big screen the same way the audience is. With this one, at least as far as mousing goes, you can turn this thing, you can pick up your mouse, double click it, and then you can turn around and you can operate your big screen. You can turn around and face the screen and actually operate the software and see it just the way the audience is. You're going to get a lot better, you're going to have a lot better presentation. These kind of fill two different niches. There we go. Again, this is kind of the home presentation thing, and this is the little laptop presenter. I've got and they do work very well. If you've used a Wii, it's very much the same, moving around the screen. You don't have the little sensor bar that sits in front of the Wii, which, as far as I know, don't quote me on this, but there's a couple of lights on the front of your Wiimote that talk to that little bar senses. So if you do something like this with your Wiimote, the Wii knows that you're actually tilting it, so you get another degree of freedom. You don't get that with this. This is basically X and Y. It works, you know, exactly the same as a mouse, except you're Xing and Ying this way rather than on the tabletop. Minor complaint is the size of the dongle. It's kind of big. Again, this you know, doesn't necessarily need to be just a presentation mouse. This would work well as a laptop mouse. The only thing is, you know, these dongles that you plug into your computer to talk to the mouse have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, but this has still got the big one. And that does kind of give me the willies, especially when you're traveling. You know, if I was sitting in an airport lounge somewhere and I had this hanging off the side of my laptop, I would be worried about bumping it into the side of the chair, or somebody putting their luggage down next to me and hitting this thing, and, you know, possibly damaging either the dongle or the inside of the computer. So that's a minor complaint about this. The minor complaint about this one is just sort of something I complain about, you know, with a lot of these devices. And every time you do any kind of movement with this thing, the LED wakes up and lets you know that it's transmitting. And I'm tired of blue LEDs on everything. And oh, another thing I didn't mention, this one takes two AAA batteries that just snap into the back. You know, use rechargeables, be green. This one here has its own little, there's a trick to this. There it is, there's a button on the bottom. There it goes. This one has a little rechargeable battery pack, and it's got its own little cradle that it sits in. And the cradle has its own blue LED to let you know that it exists. And I'm rather tired of devices that want to sit on your desk and let you know that they exist. I mean, again, my review, just a little gadget review today of the Air Mouse and the Air Mouse Go Plus. And I do recommend them both if you have a need for them. These aren't really just a replacement for your general mouse. This could replace your laptop mouse if you can deal with the dongle. This is a very good media center mouse. We use it downstairs just for stuff like Windows Media Center, that big TV interface that you put on Windows, and this works really well with that because it's got great big buttons that you can operate from across the room. And that is my review of the Air Mouse Go and the Air Mouse Go Plus from Gyration. That is the Lazy Programmer, episode 4. Good morning.